Hello, hello, this is ArkThePieKing here, and I'm not normally much for Halloween. It's definitely not my favorite holiday, but I thought I'd go ahead and do something to get into the spirit of things, and that is Demon's Crest for the Super Nintendo. Demon's Crest is a game starring Firebrand, one of the main, well, not main, but a pretty well-known antagonist in the Ghost and Goblin series, or Ghouls and Ghosts, whatever. I can never remember what the first game in that series is called. It's all the same to me. He was also surprisingly featured as a character in Marvel vs. Capcom. He's actually one of my characters. But I digress. This is the third one in the series, and it's my favorite one as well. So the story goes, Firebrand was basically the king of demons. He was the baddest kid on the block, and then some magical crests fell into the demon world, where most of them fell into the hands of another demon named Phalanx, who then deposed Firebrand from his throne and threw him into a gladiatorial arena, and this is where the story picks up. Firebrand does still have one of the Crest of Fire, and it's basically begins with you breaking out of jail and hunting down all of the crests to basically take the demon world back over. I really like the atmosphere in this game a lot. And the color scheme is very dark and dreary. It's a pretty big departure from a lot of the art that was featured in the Super Nintendo world. You can see my health meter up there. It just went up from 4 to 5. So this game does have a lot of progression in it. He's got a little headbutt there. It's very similar to Super Metroid and Mega Man X in that you can select your stage and you can select what order you do things in. But there are it's similar to Super Metroid because there are a lot of power-ups that help you traverse areas and access new places. And replaying stages can allow you to get to new areas, and actually each area has a couple of different bosses in it. The game does have multiple endings as well, and it's just a lot of fun. Firebrand has this nifty glide. I can glide at the end of my jump, so there's a height cap, but it never runs out. Once I start gliding, I can continue to glide forever. And we're on to another boss. This game is very boss-heavy, which is not a bad thing. I'm sure you all saw me picking up the money. That will serve a purpose later. Sorry, I'm a bit quiet here. That's going to be a trend, as I'm probably not going to talk much during the bosses, because the first one's pretty easy. The later ones actually get really obscenely hard. I'm going to try to do as much of this game without save states as possible, but if I die continuously at a part, just for the sake of progression, I'm probably going to be cheating a little bit, and I had no reason to get hit there. Alright, and down he goes. The first boss isn't too bad at all. Well, I guess that would technically make him the second boss, wouldn't it? So you count the dragon zombie, our gladiators, goodness gracious, I can't talk. Our gladiatorial opponent. There we go. It only took me a few tries to get out. The intro stage is surprisingly long. I believe this is the last part to it. And I'm just gonna fly over everything, because that is a thing Firebrand can do. And there's that moving platform there, but I don't need to use it because I'm Firebrand. I'm really a big fan of this game. Now, this one was quite the departure from the first two games in his series. As I mentioned earlier, it's the third one. Gargoyles Quest 1 on the Game Boy, and then Gargoyles Quest 2 on the Nintendo. Both fantastic games, by the way. I didn't quite get the height needed to... There we go. Those had a much bigger emphasis on RPG elements. They reminded me a bit of Zelda 2, actually. But unlike Zelda 2, they were actually games worth playing. I like Zelda 2 for the ideas that it brought, but its execution was very poor. But it was also either the first game or one of the first to really try that formula and give it the shot that it deserved. So I like a lot of the ideas that it brought into gaming. I definitely appreciate it for an early attempt. And I just skipped past a bunch of text, oops. This is Arma. He is the lead general in Phalanx's army. Phalanx being the rival gargoyle who stole all of the Crest and took Firebrand down. Arma's a pretty cool dude. He flies around and shoots easy to dodge lasers. He is the boss of the intro stage. He's not too hard. And that just about does it for this stage. As you can see, plainly, I am not going to be voice acting the text in the game. It's never been my favorite thing when LPers do it. It's very hit or miss. LPers with strong voice acting skills, I enjoy listening to them. Ones that don't necessarily have that, I'm not a big fan of. And I definitely don't have the voice acting skills necessary to do that. But I digress. This is the Overworld. It's just a glorified stage select. Let me see if I can remember where I like to go first. I always get lost in this thing because it's very hard to tell what exactly is what. This is just the shop. That's what the money's for. You can buy potions, mostly health restores, things like that. Let's see what's in this corner. Spell shop, I believe. Yeah, again, it's not something we're going to be messing with right now. Let me see. The towers. Ah, the village. This is where we want to go. Perfect. You can break out these windows and possibly get money. It is easy to spend all day doing this, and obviously I'm not going to. Let's go to the pause screen. As you can see, we've got the Fire Crest, which is broken into 5 pieces, and this is where the other crests go. Spells, potions, and I can't remember what talismans do, actually. It's been quite a while since I played through this. Last time was maybe 11 or 12 years ago. I did play a little bit of it just to make sure I could get through the first video without incident. This is the ground gargoyle form. He shoots these little ground traveling bullets, and they don't go very far at all. But the neat thing about him is instead of having the background headbutt, he gets a shoulder charge, which is largely useless outside of puzzle solving. It doesn't damage enemies. Oh, you probably saw that door at the top of the screen. That is one of the areas I was talking about where you'll need a special power-up to get to it, but it takes you to another section of the stage. Switching doesn't take very long. It can get tedious when you have to do it multiple times, but it's not too bad. Unfortunately, the game does have a little bit of slowdown where there's a lot of objects on the screen, which is a shame because the game is very pretty, mostly. Good smooth sound effects, good smooth animations. I love the sound effects. One curious design choice is you'll notice I'm only shooting one fireball. That's all I can shoot. As long as there is one on the screen, I do not get to fire again. And we are coming up on the first really painful part of the game. Is this boss up here. I have just an unreasonable amount of trouble with him, and you're going to see why when I get to him. This is actually the boss that made me decide that I might need to use save states in the future. I should be able to get through this with a little bit of trouble. I might have to retry a couple times, but we'll see how it goes. It's just a big old skeleton knight with a, well, more like a skeleton abomination. I am off to a really rough start. And the thing that makes him so difficult is he will just occasionally swipe in the air. And it's really, really hard to tell when he's going to do it, because he doesn't really telegraph his moves at all, and he takes so many hits to kill. Like, just an unreasonable amount of punishment to kill. And yeah, as you can see there, it's impossible to tell what he's going to do. He does telegraph his dash move with the little come hither motion, but that's about it. I'm just going to fly over this stage because I want to take as little damage as possible getting to him. He deals 2 points of damage per hit, which leaves me with basically I can take 3 hits and then it's a death. You have infinite lives, which is really nice. I like that design choice, but it always spits you back at the beginning of whatever section you're at, so I can't just muscle my way through the boss. I have to do that little section every time I want to fight him, and it gets pretty unreasonable, especially later. Yeah, see that? It's just... And he's probably going to swipe me right here. Nope. Yeah. It's so RNG based to try to get through him. Yeah, we're on attempt number 3. What I'm thinking about trying to do, and I'm not sure how I'm gonna handle the save state situation, but I might save state like right before the boss, like right there on that gravestone, so that I can just jump back and try him over and over and over to cut down on repeat content, because I'm obviously not having any trouble getting to him. It's just really filler. If it gets too bad, I might start save stating in the middle of the boss fight just to get through it, but I'm not sure how I'm gonna do things yet. That was supposed to be a glide, and yeah, see, I've already taken 2 of my 3 hits. Yeah, I was literally no way I was going to get around that. Alright. That was 3 game overs on the same boss. This game gets brutally hard. The stages themselves aren't too bad most of the time, but man, the bosses are insanely hard in this. I love the atmosphere, and I really do love this game a lot, but it can get very frustrating. So now I'm going to go to save state tier 1, and yep, right here. So let's just pop that up, and now every time I die, I can just pop back to there. Now you'll notice I'm missing a point of life. Because he deals 2 points, I can still take 3 hits, so it doesn't matter for this fight. And that's... I'm not going to say that's a blessing, but it's at least gives me a little bit of slack in the actual stage. I can get hit once without repercussion for the boss. Oh, and awesome, his slash can nullify my shots. I didn't realize that. This may also be a bad stage to try first. Yep, there he goes with the slash. Like, it's just... The arena's so small, there's just no way to avoid most of his attacks. Like, no reasonable way without knowing what he's going to do first. But he is starting to change color, which means I'm almost done with this hellish fight. And I'm very thankful for that, because I'm kind of tired of fighting him. Yes! Of course, the time that I save is the time that I beat him. But, you know, that's how it goes. So we're up to 5. That's definitely more than 5. We are up to 7 hits. I beat one of the bosses of that stage, which boots me out. And on that note, we're going to go ahead and end this recording, because I am definitely going to be looking up a guide for this. Oh, I take it back. I take that back. One thing I want to show off real quick is the minigame, the gambling minigame. Level 1, easy, and a 5 GP entrance, and I have 99 of them. And we are familiar with the rules, basically just bonk things until the time runs out, time being represented by the flames. It's very hard to hit some of these skulls because there's a huge delay on Firebrand's headbutts, and I am doing remarkably well this time. Here we go. Nailed it. And basically you get your entry fee back, plus whatever you get from knocking the skulls out. But I just wanted to show off that real quick since it was right there. I'm ending the recording for realsies this time. This has been ArkThePieKing, and catch y'all later.